Hey racers, CM Smallerbee here. Well, more like Damanking here. Welcome to another entry in our Guides and Gears series. In this entry, I will walk you through some of the advanced drifting strategies you can find in the all-new training course mode in KartRider Drift. To help show off some of these techniques, Damanking, an extremely skilled member of our pit crew, will be helping me out by demonstrating these advanced techniques. While I will talk about the basics of these mechanics, there is still a lot to learn about them. So if you're interested in learning more, head over to his Twitch channel or check out the other pit crew members. You can find a link to their channels in the description. To get started, head on over to the all-new training course, which can be found under license. When entering the training course, you will have a few different options. You may select free drifting, which will set you loose on the training course with no extras, or you can select a specific mechanic to practice. There are many to choose from with varying levels of difficulty. When you select a specific mechanic, a video will play showing you what it looks like when it is performed correctly, as well as some instructions on the side of your screen. Once you're ready to try it for yourself, you will notice the buttons near the instructions follow along with the buttons you press. This is to help you better visualize what you are practicing, so if you can't quite get it right, try watching the buttons instead of the cart. Before we truly get started, let me explain one concept: pre-turning and tension. Many drifts will require you to build tension for your drift. Because KartRider Drift uses digital inputs, the severity of your turn angle is determined by the time you hold the directional input, not the degree of rotation on a joystick. The severity of your turn before you press the drift key will affect your drift angle and performance, so it is very important to learn to build tension for drifts that require it. Another small thing to note is that the longer you hold your drift key, the sharper your drift will become. As such, it's standard to tap or completely release the drift input to keep your angle as shallow as possible and maintain a high speed. To show off some of these strategies, Damanking jumped into free drifting and let loose. First up, short drifts. Short drifts are typically used to prepare for another drift and are often paired with a precision drift to gain the maximum nitro possible. Short drifts are performed by tapping the drift key quickly without building any tension beforehand. In fact, a short drift is one way to build tension. Once you've built some tension, you're ready for bigger drifts. The most common time to need tension is before performing a precision drift, also known as an optimal drift. For now, we will build tension simply by hitting the turn input a little bit before we hit the drift input. This is the simplest way to build tension and is the best way to practice precision drifts. A precision drift is one of the most important in KartRider, as it allows you to build the most nitro while losing the least amount of speed, which is the core strategy of KartRider Speed Mode gameplay. To perform a precision drift, first press your turn input for a moment to build tension, then quickly tap your drift input, releasing both your turn and your drift inputs at the same time. You should only be quickly tapping your drift key here. Once you can do this consistently, you will notice this charges your nitro almost completely when you are boosting. However, there's a way to get a full charge in one quick move. Well, two moves combined into one fluid one. I am of course talking about stutter drifts, also known as a short full. It is called a short full because you will be performing a short drift followed immediately by a full, also known as a precision drift. This technique makes use of the fact that short drifts build tension and uses that to immediately launch into a precision drift. This allows you to build even more nitro than just a precision drift and is a quick way to build lots of boost when you need it. Double drifts are typically used in sharp U-turn type turns. A double drift is exactly what it sounds like, two drifts in one. A double drift is done after holding the drift key for a bit longer than a precision drift to initiate a sharper turn, then letting go of the drift key before pressing it once again. Literally, double pressing the drift key. A double drift is the best way to conserve speed and momentum for sharp turn angles. A cut drift, or cutting, is the act of countersteering and hitting your drift key at the same time. This effectively acts as a super countersteer, straightening out your cart even more. The main use for this tech is for small cart adjustments when exiting a drift. This is especially useful after sharp U-turns and double drifts. Slice drifts, also known as swift cutting, is a technique that many players use to gain small amounts of nitro on straights. Slice drifts are performed by drifting to one side briefly, then quickly cutting back to straighten out again. A slice drift is very similar to a cut drift, hence its other name, swift cutting. The main difference between a cut drift and a slice drift is that slice drifts hold the drift key through the entire motion, which reduces speed loss and allows you to quickly build small amounts of nitro while maintaining speed. Slice drifts are primarily used on straights to top off a nitro charge. This technique can be performed one of two ways, but most players learning this tech for the first time will want to use the second method. The first method for slice drifting is to press your drift and turn input at the same time, hold both inputs, then begin to hold the other directional input, while still holding the other two, to straighten out your cart. Since this method requires pressing both directions at once, it is only possible on keyboard or special controllers. This means most people will want to use the newer second method. This is done essentially the same way, but does not require you to continue holding the first direction you press. This means to perform a slice drift, all you must do is tap your directional input at the same time as you press and hold your drift key, then keep holding your drift key as you tap the other direction to straighten out. Long slide drifts are an extremely high-level mechanic that will be important for anyone looking to master speed mode. Long slide drifts are also known as drag drifts or TokTok. These drifts are an improved version of your precision drifts where you can actually accelerate while drifting. Long slide drifts maximize your drift exit speed, which is crucial for maintaining high speed. Long slide drifts are performed similar to a precision drift, but rather than letting go completely of your directional input, you will tap it at a consistent rhythm. This rhythm changes depending on the speed of your cart, so you'll have to get a feel for it yourself. The name TokTok actually comes from the sound a keyboard makes while performing the drift, so one tip is actually to repeat tok, tok, tok over and over to yourself to keep the rhythm. The last tech to learn in the training course is boosting drifts, also known as chain boosting. This technique is actually more for item mode than speed mode, as it makes heavy use of instant boosts. Instant boosts are only recommended if you do not have a full nitro, so they are not used often in high-level speed matches where it is expected that you will have a nitro most or all of the time. Instant boosts are very useful in item mode though, and therefore so are boosting drifts. A boosting drift is the ultimate form of instant boosting, where you chain many drifts together to quickly use multiple instant boosts on one corner. This technique is all about the timing of your countersteering, drifting, and instant boosting, so the only way to learn it is to get some practice and try it yourself. And that brings us to the end of the training course. If you're looking for more detailed information on these topics, I highly recommend you check out the members of our pit crew or head to our official Discord server. Once again, thank you to Damanking for helping to demonstrate the techniques for us today, and that's it for this installment. We'll see you in the next guide video.